Hey, this is Rod Bragato. Since it's Easter, I want to take a few minutes and share my faith story, how I came to faith in Jesus. Just about 5 minutes. I grew up, I just loved sports. I loved every sport, went out for every sport. I really matured early physically, so I really did well when I was younger. I loved football, wrestling, baseball, track, any sport I could do. And that was the most important thing in my life. It was my God. Whatever is the most important thing in your life is your God. My faith, I believed in God. I tried to be a good person, and I went to church and did all the stuff the church asked me to do. But there was some stuff that wasn't true in the church. They taught me that if your good works outweigh your bad works, and if you're a good person, then you can go to heaven. That's not true. Heaven's a free gift from God, and we want to serve Him out of gratitude. Going into my sophomore year in high school during spring football practice, I didn't do very well, and the coach told me I was never good enough to be a varsity player. And I told him, hey, I'm going to train this summer like I'm training for the Olympics. I'm going to show you wrong. I'm going to be a varsity starter the next year. So I was in my class, my advisory in high school, my sophomore year, and this guy named Pat had a magazine called Letterman, and I asked if I could borrow the magazine called the Letterman. It's about high school sports and stuff, and I saw this advertisement in the Letterman magazine right here. Inspiration and perseveration, attend a Fellowship of Christian Athletes conference. And I lived in San Jose, California, or Los Altos actually. And I asked my dad, can I go to this camp? And he paid the camp fee. He put me on a Greyhound bus. I went by myself to Santa Barbara, California. So I was all excited going to the sports camp. I had no idea what Fellowship of Christian Athletes was. I thought it was like YMCA. And so the first night, John Wooden is the speaker at this camp. And he was the UCLA basketball coach, voted the greatest coach in the history of sports. In any sport, he won like 10 NCAA championships in basketball at UCLA. And he talked about love. And I thought, I'm here getting ready for football and wrestling, and this guy's talking about love. This is really strange. Well, we're putting in groups of about 10 people, and my counselors one was for the 49ers, and another was a player for the Warriors. It was really neat having discussions 3 times a day with some pro athletes. So I was having a great time in this camp, even though I didn't know it was a faith-based camp. We were still doing sports and stuff, and the next night, the speaker was Paul Anderson, who won the gold medal in powerlifting. He is about 5'6", 350 pounds, and he took a dumbbell, 350 pounds, and pressed it over his head like 10 times. And he took nails in his bare hands and put them through a 2x4. And there was 500 athletes there, and he just put the microphone away, and he just yelled out, had a powerful voice. He said, I'm the strongest man in the world, but I can't live one day without Jesus Christ. And that really made an impression on me. Well, the next night, the speaker was a pole vaulter named Brian Sturberg from the University of Washington. He was the top pole vaulter in the world, was favored to win the gold medal. While he was training on a trampoline, he landed wrong and broke his neck. And he'd been paralyzed for 10 years. And they carried him up on the stage, and they put the microphone on his neck. He had no movement at all. And he said that he asked Christ in his life after he'd been paralyzed. And he said he'd rather be paralyzed and have the joy of Jesus and know Jesus Christ than be healthy and win the Olympic gold medal. That really made an impression in my life. We had the strongest man in the world, the next night the weakest man in the world. Well, the next night of the conference, the last evening program was a chalk artist who did the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And they had some audio with it and described what was going on. And it just showed all the pain that Jesus had gone through, the spit in his face, the crown of thorns in his skull, the spikes in his wrists and his feet, the mocking, the rejection of him and stuff. And it was just really powerful. And I went outside that night. It's 9:30, June 24th, when I was 16 years old in Santa Barbara, California. And I thought, why did he do that? Why did he suffer like that, go through all that pain? He could have come off the cross any time and just be zapped him with millions of angels and stuff. And I thought, wait a minute. He did that because he loves me. He really does love me. And in that moment at 9:30 at night on June 24th, when I was 16 years old, the information I'd heard at church my whole life went from my head to my heart, which is about 17 inches. And I asked Jesus in my heart, and I said, man, you died for me. I want to live for you. You really do love me. Come into my life. And I've been to church my whole life and heard the message my whole life, but it finally made sense to me. And there's a lot of people in church, a lot of kids in youth group that they have the head knowledge, but they never asked Jesus into their heart. And it just really changed my life. I went back to my high school, started an FCA group, and it just really impacted a lot of people's lives. And I've been following Jesus ever since, or trying to follow Jesus ever since. I still struggle, have my ups and downs, but it's the best decision I ever made. I never regret it. The thing about having Jesus in my life, I really like, is it gives me a meaning and purpose. Life isn't just a bunch of meaningless activities that you do to fill up time so you're not bored. There's a purpose, a greater purpose, that you can make a difference in the world. And he's there for all my problems. Every problem has a purpose. Problems are my friend now. I don't have to escape problems, but I can embrace them and thank God for them, because they always work out for the good. I might not understand it for years, but they always do work out for the good. And I just really love the forgiveness of sins, the eternal life, the abundant life, the closeness and connection to people. I just really love God a lot, and I'm not a religious person. I want to follow him. So I just want to close with a poem here that explains how I asked Jesus into my life. It kind of summarizes my testimony. I want to encourage you, if you're not 100% sure that Jesus in your life, man, ask him into your life today. You just got to say, sorry, God, for my sins. Thank you for dying to me. Please come into my life. I want to follow you. So this last thing here, I met the King of Glory, so I just want to tell you this story. I wanted to be a high school star, but I had not gotten very far. So I went to a Christian athlete camp. I thought it'd make me a champ. I went there for athletic inspiration, but it turned out to be a camp for salvation. The pro athletes seemed so tough, but all they talked about was Christian stuff. I was turned off by this religious jargon because all I wanted was personal stardom. Then one beautiful California night, I finally saw the light. On June 24th, 1971, I received God's only begotten Son. I'm still a sinner and I still sin, but I know that Jesus, I'll always win. I'm just a sinner saved by his grace, but I know now I won one important race. God bless you. Follow Jesus.